Welcome to another episode of Sports and Discourse with your host, Derek Stevenson. And today I got a real special guest for y'all. Derek Stevenson Sr., the old school cats call him Al, the new school cats call him Mr. D, and everybody probably knows him as the guy that be on the dance floor all night at Swahili. What's up, Dad?
What's up, son?
Hey, listen, so today, we're just gonna talk a little basketball. So before we get into some NBA and some college stuff, um, what made you fall in love with the game of basketball?
I just think it was when I was young, coming up. We played all different kind of sports, and I wasn't very good when I started off, so I was kind of determined to just be the best I could at everything I played.
Word. So like, do you think basketball was your favorite sport, or did you like something else better?
Uh, Actually, I liked baseball. I felt like I was real good at baseball, but I got into basketball, and I guess I played it more than anything. I got to play it more, and it came to be one of my loves.
So whenever you was playing, when did you like decide to leave the other sports alone and mostly just focus on basketball?
Uh, Repeat that one more time.
So whenever you were playing all the sports, when did you leave the other ones alone and just dive into basketball mainly? Because that's mostly all I seen you play. I seen you play a little bit of softball, but mostly it was basketball when I was coming up.
I don't think I actually just went to basketball and left the others alone. It's just I think I was able to get to playing basketball. It's like when I worked, I got off from work and I would go play at the Seton Center at University of Kentucky, and we got around certain guys and we just played. We got together on the weekends and played in gyms, and was around a lot of friends, and it was competitive and we had a good time doing it. Something to do.
Yeah, and you played well into your 50s, man. How was you able to play so long?
I don't think it's anything special. I never smoked. I never drank. Never got high. I was a small guy. I don't gain any weight, so I just had a lot of energy and to keep moving. I always kept moving, doing something.
Yeah, it seemed like you still got all the energy, man. Everybody always telling me I seen your dad last night at Swahili. um, but anyways, so to get into some NBA stuff, like who's some of your favorite players that you like watching in today's game?
My favorite would be Stephen Curry, um Durant, and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, um, yeah, that's a lot of people's favorite players. Also, to me, I think I enjoy Kevin Durant the most right now. But those are some like veteran guys. You like any of the younger cats right now?
Yes, I kind of like basketball players got a little flair, but also play smart and consistent. And I like the new fellow Lamelo Ball. Uh, I like Devin Booker, Trey Young, and Jay Morant.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. Those are some killers right there. They're gonna definitely take over the league in the next couple of years because I can see a lot of these older cats like if you start to look at like LeBron and some of those guys, they starting to have a whole lot of injuries now. They had a hell of a run, man. They ruled the NBA for a long time, man. But I think it's about time for some of these younger guys to step up, and definitely the guys you named, especially Ja Morant, man. He been tearing it up this year. I definitely think right now, if I had to say, still the older guys, like I would say Kevin Durant and Steph is like probably leading the MVP race. But a lot of the younger guys are doing their thing, and I definitely think Lamelo is going to eventually be like one of the best point guards in the NBA,
I
man.
agree.
When I remember when I first seen Lamelo play, I wasn't really sure about him, but that was before he hit that growth spurt. And I was just like, I don't know about this kid. I never really liked any of the balls, like the way that everybody hyped them up. But now I gotta admit, they all ended up being decent. And I think Lonzo is going to end up being. He might not be a top 5 point guard, but eventually he probably be a top 10. And Lamelo got a chance to probably be top 5 point
Yeah,
guard in the
I
NBA.
looked at Lamelo, and even at a young age, he was doing things that I thought was like would fit in today's game. Like he could pass left hand, right hand, on the move. I was questioning his shooting. I didn't know how good it would be, which has surprised me that he's actually shooting the ball real well. But everything else is ball handling skills. Then I always said if he grew, he was going to be something special, and he's done that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't know if you remember this, but I tell you the person that you used to always talk about, and I just could never understand it or see it. And I remember you used to always send me clips of Luka Doncic when he was playing overseas, and I used to be like, man, this guy just ain't. I just don't see it, man. And now they call him Baby Bird, and I mean, like I ain't gonna say he's Larry Bird, but he's definitely to be as young as he is, man, he definitely look like he gonna end up being one of the greats of all time.
Yeah, I know when I first looked at him, I kind of questioned a little bit too, but he was kind of like a heavy guy. His physique didn't seem like was real mobile, but he always could get to spots. He had no fear. He could shoot. He rebounded good against older guys that he was playing against. And the more I watched him, he just looked like he kind of stood out, like he might be special. But
Yeah. Um. Nowadays, man, it seems like we getting a lot of like cats from overseas that end up being top notch ball players, and one of them I want to speak about real quick is the reigning MVP, Jokic, the Joker, man. Did you end up seeing what happened with him and the Morris twins?
actually, I just heard of that. I didn't actually get to see.
So basically, what it was the Morris twin basically just cheap shotted him when he was dribbling the ball up the court, and then he turned his back and ran off, and then Joker ran and hit him in the back real hard, knocked him down, and they ended up suspending Joker. They ended up suspending Joker for a game, and they fined the Morris like I think it might have been 50,000, and they ended up fining Jimmy Butler like 30,000 for just arguing back and forth or whatever. But everybody was saying it was a cheap shot. Um, but me personally, I think that the Morris twins should have got suspended too if they suspended Joker, just because to me he was just retaliating, like somebody came and did a cheap shot to him, and
He's giving it back.
yeah. And see, like here's my thing. Whenever because a lot of the word in the league is that Joker is a little soft, so a lot of guys try to play him physical or whatever to try to get him off his game. But me personally, whenever I was younger coming up, when I heard play physical, to me I never took that as like play dirty to hurt somebody.
Exactly.
Like for instance, right? Like whenever I was I was growing up, I would watch your game, and I always noticed that you was a rhythm jump shooter. You like to shoot dribbling off your left hand. You can shoot off the right hand, but I know if you can, you will get it back to your left and take a couple bounces before you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So if I was gonna guard you and I was gonna do it physical, it wouldn't be to hurt you, but it would be to like maybe I might sit on your left side to keep you from getting the ball back to your left hand, or I might bump you a little bit so that you dribbled the ball, you didn't get a rhythm, or maybe when you jumped up to shoot, you were off balance a little bit. That's what I always took as playing physical, like to try to knock somebody off of their rhythm, but not to just hurt somebody, man. And I hate to see plays like that because I just feel like it's unnecessary, and it doesn't really prove anything because at the end of the day, Joker's still gonna do what he does, man.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of guys just competing against one another, and things just build up, and then everybody wants to stand up for themselves, and sometimes it just gets out of hand. I don't think none of it's really an attempt to hurt anyone, but I can see where it gets to that point.
Yeah. Either way it go, man, it's kind of unfortunate that Joker ended up losing a whole game check off of it. I feel like they should have either. Me personally, I don't think anybody should have been suspended. I think they should have just gave them all a little fine. Like it would have been cool to fine them all $50,000 and just move on with it. Nobody really got injured. Um, so yeah, that's just how I feel about it.
But Joker's one of those players that he can make you mad because he can do so much at such a slow speed, and he's so consistent. He's good without no athleticism, no speed, but he can shoot, scores at will. Very intelligent ball player, and I see where some guys would get mad.
Yeah, I think too a thing that frustrates him or frustrates other players when they guard him is that he does whine a lot. He's always asking for the calls and stuff like that. That probably gets on people's nerves a lot. But most players whine a lot though.
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah, especially the way they've been changing the rules this year. They're not really giving as much calls. It's kind of slowed some people down a little bit. People having to readjust their games, and especially like James Harden and people like that that
Yeah.
usually shoot a lot of free throws.
Yeah, they don't let it get a lot more physical. Yeah, it's kind of like hard to decide what you can do and what you can't do right now because they definitely letting them play more.
Yeah, like it's not as physical as it was probably in like the '90s or something like that. But for the new era of basketball, they are letting them play a lot more though.
Yeah,
It looks more like the way they let them play in the playoffs, kind of.
yeah, and I think they needed that. Yeah, I think it's too easy the other way. You can't really compete like you want to.
Yeah, it just ended up turning into whoever can hit the most threes wins the championship.
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyways, man, now I know, and probably everybody that knows you just as big of a Jordan fan as me, man. So we got to talk about this Scottie Pippen deal, man. So what do you think about Scottie Pippen?
To be honest with you, I don't even understand it. I've always thought Scottie Pippen was a good ball player, but actually, and I've watched almost every game of the Bulls. And Michael Jordan was definitely the superstar, there's no doubt. I think he made Scottie Pippen a little bit more aggressive, a little tougher, a little more confident. So I think he kind of dragged him. But I did watch some back old college clips of Pippen. He was a lot better than probably perceived, but just like any sports, when a guy's better than you, sometimes you have to take a little back seat. And to me, you either you either go with that and work with it, or you find a way to move forward and get out.
Yeah, see, that's the problem that I had with him was I feel like if he thought that Jordan was holding him back, I feel like he should have left the Bulls. But the fact that he didn't, he stayed along for the ride, then I feel like he should just be okay with how it played out because at the end of the day, I mean, people still know he's a six-time champion. He was a perennial all-star. I think he made All NBA a couple times. He was always, I think he made All NBA defensive like 7 or 8 times. So at the end of the day, he was a top 50 player. Whether some people think that was because of playing with Jordan or not, that's still a part of his legacy. He was Hall of Fame. So it kind of really blew my mind that he was going this hard.
What else? What more do you want? I mean, now you're not going to be looked at as Mike, but you did everything else you can do, and you've been successful. You famous. People know you. That should be enough.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. I understand that he's trying to sell his book, and maybe he might just be doing a little bit of this just to like hype people up to buy the book.
Maybe so.
But then again, I don't know because I think man, it's just kind of hard to say what's going on with him, man. He might be having a little midlife crisis or something, man. But I feel like you know, it's still only a few people that could say they had a better career than him. So at the end of the day, he it's just like the same way with like in today's league when you play with LeBron, like you have to take a back seat. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Even if you're Anthony Davis, you still got to take the back seat.
Right.
And when you play with those type of players, that's just what comes with that. Like you will get some championships. You will you probably gonna go to the finals a bunch of times, but you're gonna sacrifice a little bit of your game, just like Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Love. Like they all had to do it. And at the end of the day, I don't think it's hurt how people look at them. Like I think people still look at them all as great players.
Yeah, you got to take in respect that Michael Jordan and LeBron James in there are classified as the best players in the world. So you have to accept that. I mean, that's the way it is. They are, and so somebody's going to take a back seat. But every player, every great player needs help. So it's not like no one looked at that Mike didn't have no help. It's just that he was the best player, and when you really needed something, to me, I thought he was the guy you have to go to.
Yeah. It's pretty unfortunate, man. I hope Scotty calms down, and I hope he let all of this die, because I think it's actually hurting him. It's starting to make people look at him differently. I think it's causing, like, even in the book. I know he if you remember, when he went and played with the Rockets, he took a couple shots at Charles Barkley and Elijah Wan, and said that he said something like, yeah, I thought they would be in a little better shape or take it a little more serious. But, at the end of the day, if you look at the numbers, they still both had better numbers than he did that year. So it kind of really didn't make any sense, man. And if you look at Scottie Pippen's career, it just kind of tailed off after he left the Bulls. Like,
Yeah,
year by year, it got a little worse.
yeah, I think he's got to let it go. I mean, he just it's getting worse. That people are looking at him in a whole different light, and a lot of people are going to dislike him for what he's doing, because it seems a little petty that after all this time and what you accomplished with a person, and a guy considered the best player in the world at that time, that you nitpicking it like this.
Yeah, and
Pretty bad.
especially because whether Michael Jordan believes it or not, he always says good things about Scottie Pippen. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
he might believe that he could have done it without Scottie Pippen, but he never says that. He always says that, he needed Scottie Pippen to win, and it was his best teammate and everything like that. So I don't really understand it. Yeah, Scottie Pippen did look a little funny in the Last Dance, but those was real moments that really happened in his career. Like, when he really set out in games with migraine headaches, and when he refused to go in the game when Phil Jackson called him in. Like, that's all stuff that really happened. And sometimes you just, you make mistakes, and I feel like he should have just said, at that time, I made the decision, and it might not have been the right decision looking back on it, but, ain't nothing I can do about it now, and just move on from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even when they did the Last Dance, you got to understand it was Mike they hosted. So Michael's going to talk about more about himself than glorifying everybody else. I mean, that's just understandable. I mean, and that's what them people want to hear. They want to know about him. If they wanted Scottie Pippen, they would have got him to do the Last Dance. Is the way I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way it is. Like,
Yeah,
you know, and sometimes it don't work out, and you know, I wish that he would have just, if he was really feeling that way, I wish he would have just moved along. You know what I mean? Like, even Kevin Durant, like, he didn't really feel great after them Warriors championships, and he just decided to move along too. You know what I mean? Sometimes it does kind of suck being the third wheel, so to speak. But if you sit there and you go for the ride, man, then that's what it is, in my opinion.
yeah.
But anyways, moving on. So, what do you think about the Lakers this year so far?
It's kind of like the doubts I had from the start. I mean, they got a lot of great players, but they're also uh, up in age. So, here again, I always say that eventually time catches up with you. I know that eventually you're going to slow down, you're going to get hurt more, and they have a lot of players on the team that possibly can help. Then you got to worry about all of those great players, the chemistry, and putting the right people out there at the right time. Uh, Not no total knock against Russell Westbrook. He's a great player in his own way. I do not think he fits with this team actually, but maybe in time they can work it out. So, but he turns the ball over a little bit more than needed, and but LeBron needs a break. Somebody has to get in there and help. And Russell Brooks still triple double threat. So it's a guy like it's hard to decide what you need to do with him.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long season for them, man. I think because LeBron is, even when LeBron comes back healthy, I think he's gonna have to take a lot of days off just to so that he doesn't keep injuring himself. So like he's probably not gonna play too many back to backs and stuff like that. So they could end up probably putting themselves in a position where they could be like at the bottom seed of the playoffs.
Exactly. I think they have a goodest chances in it if everything goes kind of perfect. Is the way I look at it. But I think the odds against it. It's a lot of good teams in the West that coming along. And be honest with you, I think the NBA is wide open. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
Too many things going on with different teams. So to actually just put your stamp on it, I could name you maybe a couple of teams like the Nets. You could look at the Clippers. You could look at LA. It's just several
the
teams.
Heat.
The Heat, yeah, they are actually good. So it's hard to say. Tough
Yeah,
one.
yeah. One of my pick that after the free agency was over, I picked the Miami Heat as the best team as far as what they did in free agency because I felt like they made a lot of good moves and they really built like a strong team. They got a strong bench now. I definitely feel like right now, if I had to pick somebody to win the Eastern Conference, I would go with the Heat. But my favorite team is the Bulls, though, man. I like what the Bulls did, man. I feel like the Bulls got a good group of like older guys and some young guns to come and help, and they kind of exciting. And I kind of enjoy watching the Bulls, honestly. But I tell you, my one of my disappointing teams is the Celtics, man.
Yeah, it's like the same story with the Celtics. It's like it's just been that way for some years now. They've had excellent players, but I've always seen that it's a struggle for who the main player is, and it seems like no one wants to give it over to one player, and seem like it's always caused some conflict. They play hard, but seem like they never actually, in reality, get along. It's a problem in there.
Yeah, and the thing is that it looks like Marcus Smart is the actual leader of the team, but even him for him to speak out publicly, he must be getting really frustrated with the young cats, man. Like
Yeah.
he's not as good as them, so he probably is looking for them to be the superstar players, but they just a little selfish in his eyes, it seems, man. And I
Yeah,
feel like eventually they're gonna have to move one of them guys.
yeah, and even when Brad Stevens was coaching, I just felt like he was a young coach trying to work it out. You trying to keep them young guys happy. That's a tough job for a young coach that probably not getting all the respect that of already accomplished, mature, more experienced coach would have gotten. Yeah,
Yeah, and I remember whenever Kyrie Irving had made that comment where he said he apologized to LeBron, and now it makes sense, man, that he was probably dealing with the same stuff with them boys too,
exactly.
and it made him realize, man, like damn, like that's probably what LeBron felt like he was doing, but now it's on the other foot, and yeah, I think eventually they're gonna have to move one of them guys, man.
Yeah.
They both excellent players, but I just feel like they both do the same thing and they got the same type of skills, and they just gonna get in each other's way. But anyway, so I'm gonna switch it over, man. So, well, before we switch, who do you think if you had to pick who you got to win the NBA championship?
I want to say the Nets, but I sure would like to see Kyrie back.
Yeah,
But if Joe Harris even plays like he's playing now, better than he played last year, if he makes shots like he normally did before last year's playoffs, uh, I think they could still be real tough to beat.
yeah. If they get Kyrie Irving back, they should be able to pull it off.
Yeah, I think so.
But it,
Hardy look starting to look like himself again.
yeah, I think he just wasn't in shape, man. And now that he's getting older too, he gonna have to just start taking better care of himself.
Exactly.
I know LeBron is getting hurt a lot more, but he does still take good care of himself, which probably slows down some of the injuries that he's had or made him be able to last for almost 20 years. But some of these younger guys, they're gonna start to fall off a lot sooner if they don't start taking better care of themselves, and he's definitely one of them. He always seems to look a little heavy now at the start of every year.
And again, I don't want to throw out the Bucks. They surprise me every year. It's like Giannis gets better, and the people around him just fill in the spots. Uh, I don't know how to take them, but every year it seems like they show up. So I wouldn't throw them all the way out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, so now, man, I got to ask you. We got to talk about some Kentucky basketball, man. So, well, how you feeling about them so far?
Uh, I like them. Um, I watched them play Duke, and to be honest with you, I just think Duke is a man team right now. They have a lot of talent. They big, they aggressive, they smart, they attack. And I think actually UK played well. And I've seen Duke since then play some other teams, and just to see if it was a fluke or whatever. But they seem to be that good. So I would say Kentucky is in a pretty good spot right now. They got some shooters this year. They got some young guys coming along. The player Collins, he looked like he could be awful good. And I know Kyle's talking about playing him more now. And but they still young and learning and getting to know each other. But they got a couple experienced guys. I love the little point guard Willer.
Yeah, I like Willer.
They definitely got to have him. He makes things happen. And then Minson right now is shooting the ball real well. And this Kelly Grady's a great shooter. They got size. They could be good if they keep improving. They will be pretty competitive. A lot better than last year for sure.
Yeah, definitely. That experience definitely seems to be helping them. Um, the one thing that I would say is I feel like they're gonna have to get one or two more guys that can really get on the glass and help Sheboy out. Cause Sheboy definitely seems like he's gonna get you at least 8 every night or more, depending on what his foul situation is. But he seems like he's just gonna be strong enough to hold people off. He ain't really athletically explosive, but he just seems strong enough to where he can move people out the way and get to the ball. But they're gonna have to have somebody else help him out, though. That's the one thing that I feel like hurt him a little bit against Duke.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
and I was gonna say also, I feel like they just they rushed a little bit in the second half, and they attacked in some situations where I feel like they should have tried to get better shots. But
And back to the big fella you was talking about. He looks real good. I see one problem with him, and I just think it's learning and getting you. Uh, it's like when they throw the ball in the post, his reaction to what he want to do is slow, and he's bending over and holding the ball, which is making it kind of hard for him to get up. Once he learns to just once it hit his hand, know where he's going with it, I think he's going to be a real great player at UK.
yeah, I know Coach Cal had made a comment where he said that he was trying to basically turn Ty Washington loose to see if he could make some plays. And I think it might have hurt him in that game a little bit because I think he was doing stuff a little out of character. He seems like more of an under control type of player, and I think him and Willer both started trying to force a little bit. Um, but that's one thing about Cal's point guards. They always, and that might just be from him, but it seems like he's always telling them to go in the beginning of the season. And maybe he's trying to get them to figure out on their own what spots they can get to and when to take chances and not. But in the beginning of the season, it usually results in a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, I love Ty Washington. He actually looks like he does things real easy and smooth right now. And I just noticed in a couple of games, it's just against Duke, it's more like when he's getting to a play, but he's not. He's kind of half finishing instead of confidence of finish like he would against a lesser opponent. I think once he gets all that in playing time, I think he's going to be a top-notch player. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah. The thing that hurt him against Duke was a little bit is Duke just got some strong dudes. Like it seemed like everybody that was playing for them was already like built like a man. And they got a couple dudes that's probably gonna be some higher picks in the draft, man.
Yeah, they good. I done watched 2 or 3 games. I just got through watching a clip with them against a team called Campbell, which wasn't really bad. I know they don't sound like nobody, but I watched them. They could play a little bit, but Duke is just so physical, could shoot. They could just do everything.
Yeah. I know we just lost a player. I forgot what the player's name was, but he's gonna end up having surgery and missing the rest of the season. Was it the
Sky?
no the
No.
the dude on this year's team? Let me see what his name is.
Yeah, I just seen it too.
I forgot what that kid's name is, man. But
The
unfortunately,
guard.
yeah,
Yeah, that can shoot.
yeah,
Yeah.
we lost him. So that'll hurt him a little.
CJ something. I can't remember exactly what it is right now.
Yeah, but overall, man, I'm happy about the team. I feel like they got a shot. I haven't watched too many of the other SEC schools, so I don't really know how they stacking up right now. But
I did see some highlights of a couple of other teams. Actually, they were doing the same thing to their opponents in Kentucky doing earlier. They were winning by double figures. They got two or three teams that looked like pretty good. I didn't get to watch it in detail, but I just think the way Kentucky looks against a team like Duke, they'll be hard to beat in the SEC.
that's good. That's what I like to see, man. Last year was a struggle, man, and they didn't have a home crowd to play to hype them up in the game, and it was just a weird year last year, and a lot of the good schools was down last year, man. Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas, they all kind of was down, but
Yep.
it seemed like everybody's regrouped and everybody's back to normal. So we'll see how it turns out. But do you think Kentucky got a shot to win the championship?
Yes, here again, I think it's just a like improvement. If these guys get better, they got a lot of talent on their team, and they look like they could be good. They have a chance. Yeah, I say good as some of the teams. The top teams, I did see a little clip of Gonzaga early this morning, and they actually look pretty good. That's a team I think that I've watched look like could give Duke trouble right now. Villanova look just okay to me. They ranked number 4. They steady, but they look beatable to me. So, yeah.
Well, we'll see how it shapes up, man. But anyways, Dad, I appreciate you talking with me, man. We'll have to do it again sometime soon in the middle of the season or something, man. But I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for talking with me, man. We'll get back at it.
Appreciate it, son.